And what's up, everybody? We're back with another episode of the Live, Laugh, Laugh podcast, continuing with season 4. Back with Garry, as always. And our guest today, Anne Pomeroy.
Hi, everybody.
By the looks
I
of
hope to
this,
sound a little bit more upbeat than Tyler does, although I know he hasn't gotten a lot of sleep recently.
I
So
actually got a good
we'll
amount of
see how
sleep
this
last
goes.
night. I just
Well, the night before you said
my
you
my
got
voice is my
3 hours.
voice is a little shot still from the fact that I was laughing my ass off for about 2 hours straight. So,
Yeah.
but by the looks of Anne's shirt, you can tell why Anne is on the podcast today. We're going to talk about the Chicago Street Course, and Anne was there live in
I
person
was.
both days. So we're going to hear the full
Both days.
experience of how the weekend went, as well as recap the races that went on, and all the
Yeah,
craziness and other shit that happened. We have some silly season news to talk about too, and then of course, at the end, we're actually going to be doing a triple preview this weekend. I'll explain why later on in the episode, but we'll get to that ahead soon. But first, we're going to talk about Chicago. I'll let Ann Pomeroy take the floor now. We'll recap the races themselves a little bit later, but I want to hear the experience at the track. It's Chicago's Street Course.
All right. So I've got a lot to say. So get buckle in, viewers. This is experience and a half I went on. So I took the South Shoreline train in from Indiana Dunes into the city. You can get pretty close to the track from there. The first thing I noticed was that, sort of by the southern end, there was a lot of the park still open, but a lot of it was fenced off. You had to go, like, if you've ever been to the Field Museum or Soldier Field or the aquarium, there's like that little bridge under Lakeshore Drive. They had like sectioned that off, and that was the south entrance. And that's where I went on Saturday, because I ended up at Roosevelt CTA station after I did my own thing for a couple of hours. So I came in the south entrance. First gripe, they do not let you bring in coolers. They don't let you bring any food, which like is standard for a sporting event, but not for a race. So you got to bring in one like tote bag. I'd carry like a change of clothes, my chair, my raincoat, my like toothbrush and toothpaste, everything in this one bag, and it ended up being really heavy. But I got in like 15 minutes late because they didn't open the gates on time because they didn't have enough scanners.
Wait.
What?
Why did you have your toiletries with you?
Because I had to carry everything I was bringing for the night in my bag. Because I couldn't check into my place until 3, and I was getting there for gate opening at 9. So I had to carry every possession that was going with me in that one clear bag for the entire day.
That is
and the
crazy.
Next day.
That is crazy.
Yeah, it is. I don't think I have a picture of my bag, but it was insane because I'd like put all my chargers in there, like sunscreen. They did let you bring in plastic water bottles. So they had water refilling stations, which we'll get to when we talk about concessions. But I got in. I got the viewing spot. So how turn 6 and turn 1 are, where they come at each other and they both sort of turn. I was sitting on that. As this comes south, this comes north, and then they go this way. So I was sitting where I could see turn 6 very well, and then I could sort of see the tops of cars going through turn 1 during the Xfinity race. So I got to see a few cars in the tire barrier there. It was really hot. It was like 90 degrees, but because it's just a park that you get to walk around in, they had a bunch of shaded areas. So, I had my chair right up against the fence because I got there early. I watched Xfinity practice qualifying, Cup practice qualifying, Xfinity race. So I made many trips back and forth to the shade, and you still got pretty good views of the shade. Around there was the like monster motorcycle area, in the open, like the baseball fields, I believe it is. And that's where they had a concession area. They had a water filling station, and the water filling station was pretty good. Ended up having long lines during the race because it was fucking hot out. And $7 to add a 20-ounce on, which if you're not letting people bring in food, I'd be fine with rip-off prices if you were allowed to bring sandwiches in a cooler. Like, I would have just brought a sandwich in a cooler, but I couldn't do that. So I was out like $40 to eat at this experience. I guess that also brings me. Well, go ahead.
Understand it for Chicago reasons. Like, they have a lot of crime. You don't want people detonating a bomb there, but
that's not.
It's kind of ridiculous. They could easily have bag check policies like they do at other tracks, and they just don't.
I don't think that. Like, this was very closed off. There aren't people committing crimes in there. It's more just so that they can funnel people through and do their whole thing if they don't have to check any bags or coolers, really. But I don't know. I found the water filling stations to be pretty convenient, and I really should only have water on a day like that, so it wasn't terrible. It was just expensive, and this event was already getting expensive. The area over by Buckingham Fountain was so pretty because it was like Chicago's main fountain, and they like closed it off just to be for the race. And like there were no haulers. There was one giant tent, and they only had 2 drivers per team. So like for Penske, there was no Cindric merch. It was just a tent, and it had Blaney and Logano. And then for like Trackhouse had their own, but it was like outside the track. And they had like a NASCAR logo they took a bunch of pictures with. I'm just looking at my photos here. Then I walked around some of the other places. The views were honestly really good for not having a grandstand seat. I just had a GA, and there were so many places to see. But I don't know, for the Xfinity race, we'll talk about the on-track action, but that was my experience on Saturday pretty much. On Sunday, I came in from the north entrance, like by the Art Institute, and that had, a few more of the things you'd see outside a normal NASCAR race. Like all the spot roads, like city roads, they just have them parked, and they've got some equipment. So like, the garages aren't really garages that, you're just like watching. You could like see cars getting like worked on through one of these fences.
That's pretty
I sat in turn 9, which has incredible like city views. And there wasn't too much passing in that area, but you could see cars coming out of 8 through your long curve and then through the little turn 10 going down that little short chute. And it was the same sort of deal. There was, porta potties nearby, water station nearby, and a barbecue place nearby. There were not a lot of options. It was there were a few different places scattered across. Overall, I'd say I really liked the 2 views I got. I really liked the experience I had. I don't think I would go back, mostly just because of the price. I paid like $180 for the weekend.
This happened during recording yesterday, too.
So
we have some technical difficulties because apartment Wi-Fi sucks. Stay tuned for further updates.
Well, so far right now, rest in peace.
So far what I've garnered from the track is really hot, no food, really expensive. Sounds like a typical Chicago experience.
Basically.
Oh, and beautiful city views, which again, typical Chicago experience.
Oh. And there it goes. Oh.
Hilarious timing to cut out. I'm just like, I'm going to tell my story, and then I'm going to fucking leave. No, just the internet again. You saw I had problems yesterday. Anyway, I'm happy to field questions, or I'm happy to just talk about the races. Go ahead.
Well, I didn't hear half of what you said because you were buffering, so.
I did.
Well, that's your fault then, Tyler, if Garry can hear.
What?
Well, yeah.
So wait, how much? So how much was it? Was 190 for the 2-day pass?
Yeah, it was like $188 for
Jesus
for
Christ.
general admission for like the grounds pass for Saturday and Sunday. It was like 90, maybe $80 to get in for Xfinity and like 120 to get in for Cup. The grandstand seats for the weekend were around 250, and the premier front stretch seats were around 450.
That's
I mean, just compare them.
okay. I know Michigan is the cheapest track on the circuit, but holy crap, those are expensive. Like,
I mean, to compare that to two racetracks, or one other racetrack, when I went to the Bristol Dirt Race, which was the last final dirt race, who knows, maybe you went to the last Chicago Street Course.
I think,
my tickets were like about $80 to $90. So
Right.
I went with like 4 people.
The Indy 500 is in that price range, you know? Like,
Right.
and that's the greatest spectacle in all of racing.
I think my Bristol night race tickets in the playoffs were $75. I don't remember exactly how much they cost, but it was definitely not as high as that.
Cheap.
And it was a night race in the playoffs, so
yeah.
It's kind of ridiculous.
It was expensive, and for me, a Chicago-loving nerd, like, look, literally behind me, I have a mini Chicago flag.
No, that's the Nicaraguan
time in
flag,
the CTA
actually.
and stuff. What did you get that from, by the way? Why did you say that?
I don't know. It just kind of looks like a tropical nation
just,
flag. Whoa! I'm leaning back farther. I found a cheat code in my chair.
My point is, for me, it was worth it because I love the city, and seeing Joey Logano driving on the streets of Chicago is like such a cool experience. But for you two, I think you want to see a good race from a good spot without a ton of hassle. And there was the hassle of not having to drive, that was relieved. But, ugh.
Well,
I may hate Chicago sports, but seeing like stuff like that, see the buildings that Chicago has, like that's the most beautiful thing I want to see from Chicago.
Exactly, and that's not.
I just hate the sports.
Right, exactly, and that's the scenery that, Road America is a great road race, but it's not giving you that. Watkins Glen's not giving you that. Sonoma's not giving you that.
Well, you're not gonna really see that at any road course.
Well, Sonoma can if you just go into the wintertime.
Am I fucked? I'm just gonna do this on my phone. I'm still listening. I'm just gonna be switching to my phone so I don't have any more internet problems. You two keep talking.
The thing about going to a road course, this isn't a Chicago specific issue. It's a road course issue. Is you are guaranteed to not see the entire track, and in most cases, you're not going to see barely any of the track.
Well, that's why I love the Roval, and that's why I don't want the Roval to be gone, is because you can. That's actually true for that one. I would say, from on Sunday when I was in turn 9, no, I was seeing 8, 9, and 10 in the straightaway into 11, and that was it. But for Saturday, I was seeing, down the straightaway from 5 to 6, up the hill to 7, and obviously turn 6, and I could get views down the straightaway into turn 1 and into 2, which again is still like partial views of maybe half the track. But, there were good spots, but that spot ended up being very busy and cramped, and so you got to get there early, and you got to get there, you got to camp. You not camp literally, but you got to set up your spot. Oh, and you actually can't camp There are no, there's no spot to park an RV in downtown Chicago.
That was another question
So,
I had. What was it like for other racing activities? Like, how there's like at other tracks there's like booths set up and you can see cars and meet people.
Okay. Yeah. So
Maybe that?
the Ford booth was there inside the track.
That's a fact.
So it had like the Bill France Cup and everything. The Big Ten was there. That one was fun. They had a little tent.
I can't
you could
be
enter to
surprised,
win.
That's crazy.
You could enter to win trip to the United Center next year. I'm gonna try. I didn't get a ton of pictures. Arby's had their thing. There was like a little mini golf thing that like
wait,
the Illinois Tourism
What
Department
was
set
at
up.
the Arby's booth?
There was outside. There was a little NASCAR village. Did I first? Yeah, I'm a mess right now. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to look through my photos. No, there were a few other things. There was a Chicagoland Speedway merch joint, which was very funny.
Oh my god, that is so bad. That is such an insult.
Yeah, there were a few other sponsors, but it wasn't the magnitude that you normally see at a track. There were a few Q&As, a few things like on the stage they were using for the concert. I should mention you do get a concert with your ticket to the street race. So it's $180 for 2 races and a Zach Brown Band concert, but I did not go to the concert, so I can't really rate it.
Hey, Zach Brown Band not a bad concert though. I would have probably watched it.
No, it's a good value for your ticket, but I didn't go. So that was another thing to consider. I had something else I wanted.
You could technically say you were at a Zach Brown Band concert though, even though you didn't go watch it. You were technically
I had a
grounds.
ticket to a Zach Brown Band concert, but I didn't go. So. Yeah, I'm his biggest fan.
So,
bit of chicken fried.
When you said you were at turn 9, what letter were you at? Because I'm looking at the map of how they mapped it out.
I can send a picture of what my view looked like.
Okay.
So this was so it was like the little arch on the course.
Yeah.
I was in the middle of the arch on the course.
So between N and L, then, basically how it was. Right? Maybe. Tyler?
We have more internet problems.
I think we...
Yeah.
There we go.
It's happening again. I'm getting on my phone. I can't do this anymore. I'm sorry.
You're good. Okay. We lost him, guys. We lost him. Oop.
Tony Chappelle. Garry, why do you look like Limp Bizkit? Well, we got a good POV shot on Ann's camera right now.
It doesn't have anything right now. I just see a blank square on my screen.
I see garbled. What is Garry doing? That's not Limp Bizkit.
Oh, it's because it's pointing at my desk. That's why. I have the rear-facing camera. Flip.
We've all done that before.
Okay, that's fine. That's an acceptable view.
We've all
Okay.
done that before.
Yeah. Anyway, is there anything more you want me to touch on, Tyler, or did I cover the basics?
I'm trying to think.
Oh,
So how would you rate it? Not the fact that you're in Chicago. Take say just a street race in general. How would you compare it to going to MIS and Dover? I think those are the other two you've been to, right?
Oh, hold on a minute, Tyler.
And I went to Vegas as well.
Oh yeah, Vegas.
I've been to 4 tracks.
You can't compare
so-
a course to a speedway track.
I can and I will.
I know. So, I mean, taking it in a vacuum,
But honestly, I got pretty good views. Like, obviously, my views are going to be like my opinions are going to be like skewed because like I'm including the Chicago skyline and the metro trains and all that in the view. But excluding that, they had a lot of good angles of the track available to grounds pass viewers, at least this year. In the first 2 years, there were even fewer opportunities. Like, my spot was grandstands in 2023 and 2024. So, I'm not going to give it a score out of 10, just that for road course views, they had great views. There were good places to see, good passing, good action, and, good stuff. The amenities, they can't be great for a street race, but they were bad even by my expectations. They were expensive. They were crowded. They were, the GA areas, especially on Saturday, they sort of got cramped. I got really hot. General surroundings, like a park instead of just a paved area. It's very nice to have shade. It's very nice to have, that sort of stuff. But did I freeze again, or did you freeze this time?
I didn't freeze.
Never mind. You froze.
Whatever.
I would say it was a great experience, and I don't know if I can really rate it because of all the stuff going on with it.
Would you say it was a better experience than MIS or Dover? Like, did you think you got your money's worth more or no?
It was a better experience for sure. I don't know if it was worth more. Like, I don't know if it was worth 3 times the price of a Michigan ticket or whatever. I don't know. I don't think it was worth it for the average diehard NASCAR fan. But like 80% of the people there, it was their first race. At least in 2024. I don't know about this year. But like most people going are Chicagoans who want to see NASCAR, or see the event in their city, and not like diehard fans. For diehard fans, I would go to an oval for cheaper. But for people, to get people into the sport, it was excellent. No notes. Amazing.
So, I mean, here's the real question. With possibly Chicago Street Course leaving, do you think we should have Chicagoland back, or should they do one more year of Chicago Street Course? Or do something in that lines?
I don't know. I think in terms of like what's best for NASCAR, the best thing for NASCAR to do is probably go to San Diego for a street race and go to Chicagoland. I would love to do this every year for the rest of time. Trust me. But I understand why they're getting rid of it. I understand why Chicagoans are sort of getting tired of it. It's a holiday weekend. It's shutting down the most prominent park in their city. I understand. And so, I would miss it, but I understand if it goes away and they go back to Chicagoland.
Okay. Anything else to add, Tyler?
One more thing. What'd you get? Merch hall.
I mean, the merch hall, I'm going to stand up. It was this t-shirt, which has the small pocket design on the front and the big design. Is it in the frame?
Fat.
Yes. I think so. Yeah. And I got a pin, which I have on my pin board out there. I'm not going to take it off. It was like the Navy Pier Ferris wheel. It does actually spin, and then it says NASCAR Chicago Street Race. I do have a picture somewhere, which you could flash up on screen in post-production.
I won't.
It was a pin for the weekend, and that was what I got from the race in terms of souvenirs. Well, they had a bunch of free stuff too. Actually, let me go to my closet. I'm going to give you the free stuff haul.
Did you get free Arby's coupons? when Corey
No, I did not get free
Cody
arbitration
Ware
funds.
crashed?
No. I get one if the Tigers score 3 runs. I get a free small order of crispy fries.
True.
So a bunch of people are giving me free stuff. So first, this was the bag I got. It was really nice on Sunday, so I could carry more stuff easily. This was a company that's trying to do or I don't know if it was a company or more the charity nonprofit trying to get rid of skin cancer. So they gave me sunscreen in this bag and a cooling towel. This handcrafted harbless premium cocktails gave me this flag that has the street race logo on it. It's like a car flag. So I'm just going to wave it like this. I'm not putting it on the car because every time I read it, I think it says cannabis. It doesn't say cannabis. Here's the bag I carry. This is the amount of stuff that I was allowed to bring for a weekend.
That's wild. That is actually insane.
We've got a Big Ten Network koozie. We've got this is like a mystery box. We've got a cowbell from that cannabis company. Or it's not called cannabis, it's called Carbless. But it's funny to call it cannabis. Cannabis also gave me a cooling towel, and here's the sunscreen. The sunscreen bar.
That they didn't use.
It's a bar?
And a cooling towel.
It's a bar?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bar.
That is like the worst way possible. That is like the worst way possible to promote health for sunscreen is by giving them a bar of soap.
It looks like chapstick. Like I want to put this on my lips.
I want to put that on my armpits.
I mean, yeah, that's where the sun don't shine. So why have to put some sunscreen on it? Anyway, that's the free stuff I got.
Cool beans.
Cool.
Okay,
do you want to talk about the racing now?
Yeah, let's do that. So it was Xfinity and Cup in action this weekend. First, the Xfinity race. There wasn't much to talk about. Blaine Perkins wrecked out early. Brian Sieg also wrecked, which was a fat L for him. I don't know if he's ever going to get his first win. Sergio Perez also wrecked to end the first stage, as did Matt DiBenedetto would follow suit soon after that.
Did you just say Sergio Perez?
Yeah.
Sergio Perez. The F1 guy?
Is he F1?
Max Verstappen's partner in crime in 2023, yeah.
Max Verstappen jump scare.
I was about to say, just said Sergio Perez. Did he go from Formula 1 to NASCAR?
I'll just call him Wenzel Perez instead. Known Tigers player, Wenzel Perez.
Ooh, a former Tiger player actually got to play?
Yes. There was a road course ringer ranking his, making a lone start for Xfinity. His last name was Annunziata. I do not remember his fucking first name. He got into a crash along with Taylor Gray to start the third stage. Castro wrecked out late, which set up a late restart, which allowed the race up to that point looked like it was going to be Connor Zilich's to win because he had the lead and he had the track position, he had the distance. That was until that caution came out, which completely botched up the restart, and SVG was able to sneak through, literally shove Zilich out of the way to make the late pass and secure his second consecutive Chicago Street Course Xfinity win in relatively dominant fashion. He ran up front most of the race, got put in the back because of pit strategy late, and then rallied back with the win. So good job, Shane Van Gisbergen, on winning in the Junior Motorsports number 9 car. And then he almost killed the camera guy during the burnout, which I thought was really funny.
Well, I heard, am I frozen again? Am I cooked? Am I cooked?
No.
Okay, thank goodness. Tyler's cooked, though. His cool suit was broken by the end of that race. So that's why he didn't like do his little punt. Was like he was stepping out of the car and he was, oh my gosh, that must be terrible. But I did get to experience, I did get to like see some of that, like just from where it was. I saw like not the pass itself, but like I did get to like sort of see Zilich's car going around. I don't know how I like think about this, how I like, you know, who I'm placing blame on for either person here. Why is it like this?
It was just
internet like
it was just a classic racing move. I don't think you can blame anybody for that, except for the guy who crashed and caused the caution in the first place.
Yeah, although it's your teammate, you know, like I don't know, be a little more careful. But you know, the one that's racing here full time. Sheldon Creed was another guy up there, eternally a bridesmaid, but you know,
good.
I think he was the highest. He got the most points on the day with 53. He was up there in the mix until Zilich got in front of him, and I thought he was going to get another second. I thought I was going to be there for another Sheldon Creed second place masterclass, but no, he finished third. Austin Hill up there, good for him. He did well in the cup race as well, I think, but that's spoilers. I don't know how. I can't spoil that.
The cup race. He did run the cup race, and he actually didn't do that bad in the cup race.
He did well, yeah,
which was surprising. But that was the Xfinity race. It was an okay Xfinity race. I don't have any.
There was a lot of time spent under caution. You know, like not like laps. I mean, kind of also laps, but like the one complaint I had. I was not complaining when I was there because it was 90 and I wanted to get out of the sun. So I got extended in the shade time whenever the caution came out. So I liked that. But it was a lot of the race was spent not running laps. And like I know it's supposed to be a short race, but it really, I think that's not the impression you want to give to new fans is a 3-stage with big cautions, and then wrecks, and you know, and then suddenly 50-lap race has like 20-something laps under caution, and then it's not, you know, it's just like I don't like that being like a first impression for the sport, especially if you only bought Saturday. You know, that's just my take. Is like I don't like. I would love to see no more stage cautions or road courses. They tried it and it didn't work, and it felt like they just were like, well, we tried everything we could. I think we can go back to that. But no, it was a good race, and it was fun to watch.
That was Xfinity. Now move on to Cup. I want to say a ton of drivers moved to the back for the start of the Cup race, which was kind of fun.
There was a lot. I'll pull up the list, but I sent the list on Sunday. It did include every Hendrick car, 4, 5, 9, 10, 11, 23, 24, 47, 48, 78. Hamlin for engine, rest for repairs. I could see Hamlin like being around on the exit of 6 in Cup practice. That was a lot of fun. It was just Hamlin's just like flying around. On that list, Catherine Legg, working your way up to the top 20, is excellent work for Live Fast, excellent work for her, and just I want to shout her out because we were all like
another Haley Deegan.
Yeah, we were all so harsh on her at Phoenix when the problem was really like ovals aren't her thing, and you know, 19th place, excellent work. I'm looking at the list. Yeah, a lot of people starting in the back, and then thankfully it started on time because there were like less than 5 minutes left at the end.
It did not start on time. It did not start on time. It started at 2:30 when the scheduled start time was 2. Because they thought
that's how every NASCAR race goes.
They ran 100. They ran 100 fucking pace laps.
So you only have this problem for Chicago. This happens every week, and the fact that you haven't caught on is crazy. The time there is for when pre-race ceremonies begin, and there weren't that many ceremonies. It was the same thing. It was the invocation, it was the national anthem, there was a flyover, and they went back to commercial, they came back, they did fire your engines. That just brings me to a question I have, though. How was the TNT coverage for this race? Because I saw...
Oh, my God, it was awful. I'll get to that later, but...
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
my God. So,
It was Amazon
we're
Prime.
gonna jump all over the place with this one, but I want to...
Yeah.
This is not against TNT in general, but So Arby's chose to sponsor Cody Ware, which you wonder why. And then Arby's decided to pour, I don't know how much money they poured into sponsoring this fucking race, dude. So,
a lot. They had a lot
but
of
as
track.
part of their race promotion, they came up with a commercial with Cody Ware in it. I have to tell you that this is one of the dumbest ads I've ever seen in my life. So, okay.
This is an advertising management major speaking. So we can trust them.
They played it more than any other commercial during the race. It was literally, I think it was the intro commercial for every single fucking commercial break during the race. It was ridiculous. And so it was the how the commercial works, I don't know if you've seen the commercial or not, but
No.
it's the most AI generated video of Cody Ware driving down what's supposed to be down the long fast stretch of the Chicago course, but it looks nothing like it at all. It looks like you're driving down Atlanta's front stretch, and it doesn't even look close to what it's supposed to be. And then it cuts to Cody Ware in the car. Oh my God, and it's just, I don't remember exactly what he says, but it's like, I see it, and it's like, see what? Cheesesteaks. There's cheesesteaks at the finish line.
Pancake.
And the crew and the spotter's like, what? And that's the whole. And then while that's going on, while there's doing the talking, they're just showing a cheesesteak getting pulled apart. It's like, what the fuck? Oh my God. That was the literal dumbest, one of the dumbest ads. I need to make a video actually about that maybe one time, like worst commercials I've ever seen in my life, because that one might be on there. It was.
We do like a 10 worst and 10 best.
That was,
because you got to rank like all the Geico commercials.
That was an atrocious commercial. Maybe it's just because Cody Ware should not be anywhere near NASCAR, and it's really stupid that he got this sponsorship from Arby's and everything. But holy shit, that was a terrible commercial. And it played so much. I could not, for the life of me, tolerate anymore. But anyways, that was that. And
that's all we're gonna say on TNT's broadcast.
TNT. We'll get back to what. We'll get to that. We'll get back to the actual broadcast later, because there's a couple of big gripes that I have against the broadcast, but that's for later in the race.
Okay.
So anyways, first lap of the race, William Byron has a mechanical failure. Let's go. Big dubs right there. He had to start in a backup car anyways, and then had transmission issues right as the race began. So that was pretty based. So he was out. That was
one of the cars I got to see repaired. I have a picture of it. Like, if you just walk backwards from my seat towards like the pit area, there was just a fence with a little banner over it, and behind it you could see like all the crew guys like furiously scrambling to try and do something with this car, but it didn't happen.
No,
it was just interesting that like you could just sort of see it from the random grounds past view. But Rip Bozo, I don't really care that he is out. He's going to be fine.
So now I want to bring up my fantasy pick for the week. So we made our picks the day before the race. And I was like, oh, we're probably going to have to use our last pick on SVG and just hope that he doesn't crash or get a penalty. And, but my dad suggested, he was like, I don't want to waste this pick because I know if we pick him, he's going to crash. Let's take a gamble and pick, and he started looking down the rest of the starting grid. He's like, I see Carson Hocevar in 4th. Maybe we'll take him. And I'm like, sure. He's bound for his first win eventually. He's starting 4th. Why not? I persuaded him to make the pick. Lap 4. He's like, oh no, I took the corner a little too sharply, and becomes a fucking pinball and breaks his fucking car into millions of pieces. Carson Hocevar, what the fuck, man? I know you're not the best road course racer in the world, but really? Really? That's how you're going to go out on lap 4? Anyways, that caused the pile up, caused the big one early. Took out several drivers, including Austin Dillon. AJ Allmendinger got a little bit of it, but he was okay. Brad Keselowski has another really terrible week. He is in pretty much must-win territory. I think he was already in must-win territory for the playoffs. I don't even think he's in top 30 in points right now, which is very bad. But and several others were collected in the mess as well, and it situated a massive red flag because they had to clean out the log jam on the track, and that was great because there was impending weather. So of course you have a 45-minute red flag or however long it was to clean up the track.
This race was if I didn't believe vortex theory before, this race like proved it to me. Like every time I looked was like, it's going to storm in 30 minutes for the entire fucking race.
And then it was crazy because
they stopped.
It was crazy because with about like 30 laps to go, they pan over to a shot of the city, and it was, I swear to God, it was like a fucking avalanche was coming through the city. There was so much
the fog has like consumed half of the towers.
And I'm like, it was getting, and you could start to see it in the onboards of the drivers, and I'm like, they're gonna have to call this race early due to fog. Where is Chris Buescher? And
where's Chris Buescher?
But then it didn't come. It didn't come until like 5 minutes after the race ended, and then it just started. Yeah. And then he gets like, and then it's so funny because the pit reporter, interviewing guys after the race was like, "Oh yeah, the rain, it's about to rain." Meanwhile, like half the track's engulfed in storms.
Yeah. Well, it was just a drizzle. They were like, severe weather in the area, get the fuck out of the track. Like, they had security guards stationed at the porta potties, and they weren't letting you use the bathroom on your way out because they wanted you to get out. So they were like, you gotta get out of here. But it was light rain. I didn't see any lightning until... Well, I didn't see any lightning at all because I went straight to the train station and did some other train rides.
You guys are gonna get wet. You guys gotta go.
Well, we're gonna talk about the finish later, but that would have made the finish a mess.
So after that wreck happened, things kind of calmed down. Josh Berry wrecked in stage 2, on a pretty dumb crash, I would say. Michael McDowell, after a really strong start to the race, I thought he was actually going to win the whole thing. He dominated the first stage and won it, and then had a mechanical failure, took him out of the race early in stage 2. That was pretty sad. I was actually rooting for him there, and did not pan out for him. And then things were clean for a while after that, until the later part of the race when a random caution came out because some fan had heat stroke, and they had to cause a caution so that an ambulance could get across the track. That was probably the first time that's ever happened, that they've had to cause a caution for a fan passing out due to heat stroke. So that is very bizarre, but that caused a pretty chaotic restart. Recce Spinhouse wrecked, as per usual. Followed by Austin Cindric crashing, so which then caused a caution. So pretty wild stuff there. Took them both out of the race. Chase Briscoe looked like he might have been up front to win it there a little bit, but he blew a tire, which took him out of contention. And then we get to the first TNT gripe of the race. So during the whole Briscoe thing, but really after it, Alex Bowman and Bubba Wallace were really getting into it, fighting for position, which then caused Bowman to dump Bubba Wallace, spin him completely around, and cause that whole mess. TNT decides to pull a Fox Sports and like they show maybe a third of what happened, and what was most annoying was they had the camera panned where they were coming off the corner right before Bowman dumped Bubba Wallace, and the camera just stays panned at the corner, and they cut back and Bubba's in the wall. And I'm like, how did you miss that? How did you miss that?
Well, because that was like, after week one, I was sort of skeptical about the tournament. I was all in, and then I was like, nah. And that was like, for $1 million basically is in the middle of this other race where Shane Van Gisbergen's going on to do his own thing. And it's just like, this is the moment, the excitement, the battle, the in-season tournament wanted to produce, what it was trying to produce, and you got it. You got two drivers who didn't like each other and who had problems in this race last year, fighting for $1 million right neck and neck, and then you don't show it. Well, I didn't see it anyway because I was at the track. But see, not have that, the biggest moment in the tournament so far is crazy. And to me, at least, I don't know how much they touched on the rest of the tournament, but that's the huge moment.
They were talking about the tournament a ton during this race. I don't remember them talking about it a whole lot during Atlanta, but they were talking about it a lot here. They didn't mention the tournament a lot during this battle specifically. They were also trying to do a focus on the leaders, but also show the battle. They didn't do a very good job of that. But that really pissed me off because I thought there was going to be a crash or something, and then they just spun Bubba out. But I wanted to see that and didn't get to see that, which was really fucking annoying.
Well, his privilege for winning is he gets to face 32-seeded Ty Dillon, who has now knocked off Denny Hamlin and Brad Keselowski to make his way through the Elite Eight. The other matchups are Nemechek and Jones, which are teammates. That's fun. And then Priest and Reddick and Gibbs and Smith. Sonoma. That's going to be interesting. Although, I don't know. It's just so funny that, these are the people because they put Atlanta at the start, and that Ty Dillon is doing Ty Dillon things.
Ty Dillon is in the round of 8, dude. There's so many funny memes. There's so many funny memes going around. It's like Ty Dillon during the in-season challenge. It's just Michael Jordan.
Edwin Diaz running out of the bullpen.
Or it's the Office meme where it's where Steve Carell's character shaking the guy's hand and he has no clue what he's doing. That's so fun. Yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah.
Shortly after that whole incident went down, Christopher Bell also got dumped. That wasn't touched on nearly as much. But at this point, Shane Van Gisbergen was dominating, and I was trying to not cope because I was trying to not eat my gambling superstitions and hoping that he wasn't going to win. But he was pulling away pretty well from the rest of the field. He wasn't really getting challenged at all. Tyler Reddick was trying to make a run at it, similar to what he did last year, but he was going to need a caution, and it didn't seem like a caution was going to come. 2 laps to go, though. Here comes Cody Ware, brake fail, slams into the tire barrier at over 100 miles an hour, which at this point last year was an instant caution with going much less fast. So we're like, okay, and his car is he's 3/4 of the way in the tire barriers. You could barely see the car. We're like, okay, there's no way he's getting out of this. He's not going to be able to get out of the car. Call a caution. Swear to God, NASCAR was like, we just want to get the fuck out of here. We don't give a shit. I know that's what they were saying. I'm like, I think they determined 2 laps to go. Whatever happens, we're not throwing a caution. We are going to finish this race now. We're not going to overtime. Because they just sat there and did nothing until Shane Van Gisbergen takes the white flag. And they pulled what they did in Indianapolis last year. And they were like, oh, took the white flag. All right. He's been stuck there. Ooh, we didn't see that. Our blind asses didn't see that. And they till now, and then
No,
throw
no.
the fucking caution.
Well,
Race is over.
what
Shane
they
Van Gisbergen wins.
What they said on Holler Talk was they saw it, but they did not see the like speed of it. They just like they saw a car in the tire barrier and they're like, okay, we're gonna try and give Weir a chance to get out, not realizing it was flying. The reason the fact that no NASCAR official saw that and was like, what the fuck are we doing? Is like unacceptable. There should be a caution for that instantly, absolutely. The thing is, I think a lot of the people, not you specifically, Tyler, but a lot of the people who were really mad about it were like, oh, this was rigged to give New Zealand prosperity, and it's like, no, you would also be mad if they threw a caution immediately, and then there was lightning, and then they just called the race, which is what they were going to do. That's what's going to happen if they let it. If they threw a caution immediately, we would have been in the same place. We should have thrown a caution for Cody Ware's safety because that was a vicious crash. It was scary just to watch the replay, but I don't think it would have changed anything. And I think people would have been more mad about, like, you know, either an overtime wreck fest, which happens, I'm fine with that. But, like, you know, if there's a caution and then they just don't do the overtime, I feel like people would be even more mad.
Well, also your vortex theory would have still been in effect, so actually there wouldn't have been there wouldn't have been rain if we went.
Theory. Yeah, it would have been fine.
So the rain would have been fine. What I was very intrigued to see, though, with the caution was, A, if Tyler Reddick could utilize a restart because he was being faster. B, Kyle Busch was also up there, and I would have loved to see what a guy who hasn't won a race in over 2 years at this point would have done with a chance to win on a restart on a track like this. Chances are, though, Shane Van Gisbergen absolutely blew the water out in the last restart. He probably would have done the same thing there. So that's probably he probably would have win. He probably wins in pretty dominant fashion, regardless. But I would have loved to see what would have happened because it's Kyle Busch. You never know what the fuck he's gonna do. Okay,
just drive forward until
that didn't happen.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
I think it's all we gotta do with the cup race. It's like,
I don't know. I think we touched. Well, I mean, we didn't touch on the Logano-Chastain feud, but I don't trust either of you to have nuanced, reasonable takes. What
was that even about?
Okay, so what happened? I'm going to do my best to be neutral here. So you know the Stenhouse and Cindric nonsense? So on one of them, Stenhouse, like rear-ended Logano, and then that sent Logano, like, into Chastain's right rear. And so Chastain thought that Logano right-reared him, but really Stenhouse pile-drive Logano into Chastain, and then Chastain, like, gets revenge by turning him in the next corner, and it's like, what? Like,
this is the case where Logano didn't actually do anything, and he was just, like, he just got Stenhouse. Like, I don't know why Chastain was out for blood immediately after when he didn't even have the right guy. But that was the dispute of it, and then they said, you know, they're not going to look into a penalty because Logano said, oh, Chastain said it was intentional. That should be a fine. They never said that publicly, so, you know, who knows. And that there would be no penalty for Chastain, but they told both the drivers they're keeping their eyes out this week. So it means Logano doesn't get to get revenge in a flashy way. But he'll find a way. He's not the driver that you want to piss off like that.
Gary's gone.
Bye, Gary. He couldn't handle the Logano hot takes. Although that was pretty reasonable. I'm just loud and expressive when I'm calling podcasts like this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything else to say either. SVG wins, second win of the year. So he's going to get. So at this point, unless he crashes out of all three opening round races, he probably could survive to make it to the second round where there's another road course. So theoretically, we could be seeing an SVG round of 8 run here in the playoffs.
Yeah, and Talladega's
just
in the round of 8
absolutely
now,
crazy.
so.
True. I gotta say something about the in-season challenge. if they were going to keep a playoff style format, I would just love if they did this for the actual championship, and where it's short,
Dude,
five
no.
race playoff run where it's 1 through 32, and this happens, and then you get down to the final 2 for the championship. I mean, how fun would that be? How fun would that be?
I was already so mad when Penske ran 1, 2, 3, 4 all in stage 1. They have to pit, get fucked immediately, and then they're out of the tournament. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's just Atlanta, but like,
think about it as a tournament, but like at Texas or Homestead or Phoenix, more boring tracks where the better drivers are going to do better. Or then I guess you would throw in like Talladega as well to kind of shake it up a bit, but
we can put a road course in there.
Because right now it would be like Roval, Talladega, Martinsville, but also like Homestead and Phoenix, where it's like
and Kansas.
Like Kansas, true. Yeah, that's true.
I think so. We have news to get to.
Yeah. Anyways, that was the street course. To be frank, I'm okay if they leave it.
Leave any questions in the comments down below, and I'll answer them.
It's not a track I'm like dying to see back on the schedule in 2026. Their contract is up. They're probably not going to go back. It's been a mess. Not too much of their fault.
Yeah, it's probably their fault.
Oh, Gary's phone died.
Then how did we send you that?
It must have came back on.
I'm going to fill the awkward silence by transitioning to silly season news.
No,
this was the only
no. I do that. That was the Chicago street course. Everybody, we'll put it in the books. There. Now we can go to silly season.
What are you praying about over there?
We put it in the books.
I don't have what. I have a notebook down there, I guess.
So, it was announced before the Chicago Street Race that Daniel Suarez will not be returning to Trackhouse in 2026. I can't say I'm surprised. He has only one. Well, he's 2 wins with the team. Gary's not coming back because he can't be on his phone and charge it. It won't work because his phone's old. So Gary's gone, unfortunately. He'll be back later. Well, he'll be back in due time. But
yeah, next week.
True.
Well, yeah, doing next week. Are you? You should announce that.
Daniel Suarez not coming back. Can't say I'm surprised. He only has 2 wins with the team. He has been pretty bad this year. He was pretty bad in 2024 after that Atlanta win as well. He was okay the first year or 2, but after that, not really.
Yeah.
And I think at this point with Trackhouse trying to keep themselves established as a competitive team, they're looking for something a little bit better. So I do hope Suarez gets a still solid but lower tier cup ride that he can find some stability in and maybe try and rework it, or even maybe go back and try and get back into the Xfinity Series just to get back on his feet a little bit, and come back to the Cup Series because he's a cool guy. I want to still see him around. So
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see him at Junior Motorsports. Honestly, it seems like he and Dale Jr. were vibing when they were last. I believe he was on the Junior Download. I don't remember.
Yeah, he did win in Junior Motorsports equipment at Mexico. So
yeah, exactly. I think I would not be surprised that happens, especially
maybe he runs the 500 for them or something. I don't think Junior Motorsports is coming to Cup, but he could be the next Justin Allgaier. Like that's not a bad life to live. I do agree with this choice from Trackhouse though, because the Xfinity cars and the Cup cars are so different now that giving Zilich another year to cook in Xfinity doesn't really do much.
He's already winning. He's already successful in Xfinity. I think he really needs the Cup
seat time,
even though he's probably not going to do well next year, at least compared to what Suarez is doing in the car. Like, just getting Cup experience with this car,
It's going to be way more valuable than sitting in the Xfinity Series and racing the Jesse Loves and the Austin Hills and the
Sheldon Creeds of the world.
No disrespect to them, but it's more important to learn the car at this point.
So that was that. Also, Front Row in 2311, amidst this whole lawsuit issue, they requested a rehearing on the case, and it was denied.
Yeah,
so now they could lose their charters. They could be donezo as a team in 7 days. Less than that at the time this is going up. They could lose their charters forever and have to cease to exist as teams at the end of the season, which would be an absolute curveball, seeing that 2311 is a championship caliber team right now, and Front Row has been a long-standing team for a long time. They have been around for a long time, it seems like. So that'll be very interesting. I'm very, very intrigued to see what is going to happen there. And by the time we come back to this podcast in due time, we'll get to that in a minute, we'll probably have a verdict on that, and it'll be pretty crazy if those teams are going to fall apart at the end of the season. Michael Jordan, better be opening your pocketbook right now.
Yeah, I mean, 6 starters of the market would be insane, because, you gotta hope somebody new comes by, or else you're getting 3-car Legacy Motor Club, you're getting, which teams don't have 3? You're getting 3-car Hawk-Tuah Motorsports, you're getting 3-car, RCR, you're getting...
Dude, Rick Ware's gonna be going to 3 cars next year already.
Wait, it's not even Rick Ware, it's the new guy whose name I can't pronounce. Well, I don't know. I think this lawsuit thing, it's been going on forever, as court proceedings often do. I want 2311 and Front Rows to win because I want the business of NASCAR to be less in NASCAR's favor, but, it sounds like they're not going about it very well. The have your cake and eat it too stuff was interesting, of, how can you protest this deal and still want to live under it for now? I don't know. In any case, it's looking like they're going to have to settle, and the judges really don't want to go through this whole song and dance. So, I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't know if I want to say I hope they settle. I hope something happens.
Something
will nothing ever happens usually. So
bankruptcy.
Yeah. For NASCAR or for 2311 in Front Row?
2311, that brand new facility that they showed off in the Netflix documentary for 2311 Racing.
Their 5-year plan. Yeah,
it's gone.
That's Legacy Motor Club's 5-year facility.
Everybody go down to local Charlotte Goodwills, because there's going to be some good ass stuff going in those places within the next few months here.
Yeah, everyone head to your Charlotte, North Carolina.
The only other piece of news that I had, the Clash is going back to Bowman Gray next year, so that is pretty cool. So
it's fine.
I think they signed a 5-year deal, but it's confirmed for next year for sure. So
okay, maybe they signed a deal that was it's got to be on. Yeah, it's just you're having a race at Rockingham and Wilkesboro and Bowman Gray and two at Charlotte, and and you got Bristol and Nashville and the Fairgrounds and Darling. You got so many in that pocket. This was the one Slap Shoes video I agreed with the short track problem about how they're all in the same fucking place. I think there is a reason why they left all of them, and I agree with it. So I don't know that we need Rockingham and Wilkesboro and Bowman Gray all on the schedule at once. I'd love to see another Clash at the Coliseum, but not the Coliseum specifically, but a football stadium. I really like that idea. I really like the idea of moving it around. I know Philly was interested at the University of Pennsylvania, but there aren't that many available because you can't do it in an NFL stadium. Go to the or not in the Super Bowl, but they might be in the AFC or NFC Championship, and then you can't put a football, you can't convert it to a track. So you got maybe the Cotton Bowl. I don't know. That would be a good one. But for the time being, I'm fine with it. It's fine. That's all I have to say.
That's all I had for news, though. Gary's gone, so obviously we don't know if we had any news from him. But
I think that's everything I didn't have anything. I sent all the stuff I see into our channel anyway, so nothing new.
With that in mind, get to our race predictions for the week. No chips this week because Gary's gone again, obviously. This is going to be a longer race preview section because we are going to be taking 2 weeks off from the podcast because I will be out of the country. We are, at the time of this video going up, it'll be about 12 hours, 13 hours. Well, actually at this point in the video, it'll be about less than 12 hours that I will be leaving my home to go on this trip, and I will not be returning.
I was going outside.
I'm going outside, and I'm going out of the United States. So I will be gone till the 27th of July. So I will be missing Sonoma, Dover, and Indianapolis, as well as Indianapolis Raceway Park for the truck series. So we will have to review all of those when I get back on the next episode upon return, which will be Friday, August 1st. So this is the first and also, second and final episode of July. So there you go.
That's wild.
So we're going to preview all those races now, and then come back to it in
August. Tyler, when you're back to it.
So that should be pretty exciting. So we're going to talk about Sonoma first. That's the one coming up this weekend, so it still kind of lines up with our normal schedule. Xfinity and Cup are in action. Who do we think is going to win the Xfinity race?
I don't have predictions ready, so I'm gonna wing this. I'm gonna say Connor Zilic wins it Sonoma.
That's a good one. I think I am gonna go with Connor Zilic as well. Thinking AJ Allmendinger, but I don't know if he's running the Xfinity race. So
yeah, I'm just gonna take the safe pick of a good road racer who was in position to win last week until apparently the greatest Chicago driver of all time had gotten his way. Yeah.
And then Cup predictions.
I'm gonna go with Reddick. He's still in the in-season tournament. He's a good road racer, and I just think this would be a great story of your team's about to die. Fuck you, I'm going to win the race. I'm going to move into the final four of your gimmick challenge. I'm going with Tyler Reddick.
I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to pick I'm going to pick Chase Elliott, baby, because we're not doing the chips.
What are the chips?
Garry is the poker chips that we pick drivers out of, but he's not here, so we get to pick anybody we want. And
yeah.
I don't know, Sonoma. I would pick SVG, I would pick AJ Allmendinger, but I think Sonoma more so than other tracks is not as kind of a track to the road ringers. They do still run it like they would other tracks, but they don't have the same level of success as they do at those tracks. Even like Watkins Glen, which has been on the schedule almost as long as Sonoma has, is still more dominated by the road ringers, I think. So I'm going to pick a driver, still technically a road ringer. There's won a road race in this car yet.
Yeah.
But you know what? What the fuck? Why not?
All right.
And then, moving on to Dover. Can I just say, I think this is a terrible place to have a summer race in, Dover. That concrete is going to be slick as hell, I feel like, and it is going to be scorching hot. But they're going to do it anyway, because why the fuck not?
They did the doubleheader in August, but that was kind of just because they had to, and there weren't any people there. So, it wasn't as bad.
This is also just Xfinity and Cup. I want to give a shout out to the name of the Xfinity race for this one, called the Bet Rivers 200, which... Why?
Because they paid money to do that. And there's a casino right by the track. Did you not know that?
I didn't know that, actually.
There you go. That's why. Betting. Delaware was one of the first states to legalize it. In any case, we're picking Xfinity first.
Mm-hmm.
Give me Jesse Love for no particular reason. I just think he's going to have a strong showing.
This is going to be hard because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of driver swaps on a week-to-week basis. So, you know what? Give me Daniel Dye. Fuck it.
Danny Dye.
Give me Daniel Dye.
All right.
And then a cup.
On the Kyle Larson. I don't want him to win, but I feel like this is going to be a race where he's going to run away with it.
I'm going to go with Carl Edwards. Actually, no, because he's not racing. The Concrete King, though, he was. So, unfortunately, I cannot pick him. I'm going to go with... fuck. I'm going to go... I don't want this to happen, but I feel like it's inevitable at this point. Give me Ty Gibbs. He's going to win his first race. He's going to win his first race eventually. He's come so close so many times. I don't think it'll happen at Sonoma, but Dover.
I feel like it's way more likely to happen at Sonoma. He's a good road racer. At least compared to Dover. I think if it's going to happen while you're gone, it's going to be at Sonoma. But, I'll let you pick a bad pick so that I can be ahead.
In the challenge,
I don't know. Who knows? It could be good.
I just feel like he's gonna luck out on some sort of bullshit pit strategy or something and find a way to win. Okay, and then finally we're to the last race before we return, where I return home. It's Indianapolis. The Truck Series will be back in action at Indianapolis Raceway Park, while Xfinity, which is a short track near the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, while Xfinity and Cup will be on the big track.
Mm-hmm.
So, this will be the first truck race in fucking forever, it feels like, too. They took a whole ass month off.
It's like Formula One out there.
They took a whole ass month off after the Lime Rock Park race. I guess it made them too tired.
No, they have 4 tires, Tyler.
What?
I'm going to pick Ty Majeski just because I don't want to make the obvious pick of Corey Heim, but I would not be surprised if it's Corey Heim.
Well, no, Corey Heim's not going to win. He wins every other race, and he won the last race, so he's not going
to win. Yeah, okay. Ty Majeski.
I'm going to pick Lane Riggs. He's been really solid this season, and he was the only driver that showed any competitiveness against Corey Heim the last race until he got fucking dumped by Corey Heim on the only actual restart of the entire race. And then, so I think, he's got a couple wins already this season. He's kind of the only driver giving any sort of a points battle to Corey Heim. I think he's going to win this one.
All right. Not a bad pick.
And then the Xfinity
for
race.
Austin Hill.
Now, see, I think this is where Jesse Love is going to win.
Okay.
Or Sheldon Creed. Actually, I'm going to go Sheldon Creed.
That's bold.
Because you remember last year in this race, what was then called SHR, now Haas factory team cars, were outright dominant. They were the only 2 cars fighting for the win at the end. There's only one of them now, and it's Sheldon Creed who's driving. It's not Cole Custer anymore. It's not Riley Herbst.
I thought Sam Mayer was a Haas Factory team for.
Oh, is he? I don't know, actually.
Yeah.
I'm going to still go Sheldon Creed. He's had some good runs lately, but he either fucks himself over or he gets fucked over by somebody else, which will probably happen here too. But I will still go with
all right,
Creed, because why the fuck not? And then the cup race.
who is gonna win the cup race?
I gotta say,
Chastain.
that's not a bad pick, actually. I'm gonna go with who got screwed over by
Larson won this race last year. It was Keselowski and Blaney and Larson at the front.
Who got fucked over?
Because Keselowski was definitely gonna run out, and then Blaney was maybe gonna run out, and then Larson was behind him.
Yeah, but who got like royally fucked over by that caution being thrown way too late? Who the fuck was
It was Blaney. It wasn't Blaney and Keselowski, or thinking of somebody else.
Let me
Was it
let me look at this real quick because I want to pick them.
Well, this is
It
one that-
might be Keselowski. I don't necessarily remember.
I remember we watched.
It was Reddick. Reddick got fucked. Reddick had the much better car and couldn't do anything because they were to throw the caution.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna go with him.
So does he win the in-season challenge in your?
If
your
he doesn't
universe?
get eliminated, I honestly, with how this has been going, he's probably gonna get eliminated at Sonoma. But if he's,
You think Priest is going to beat him at Sonoma? I had him winning at Sonoma, so I mean, obviously, I don't think that, but
I mean,
I think he can beat Priest.
He can, but did you think that both Denny Hamlin and Brad Keselowski would lose to fucking Ty?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because your Dover pick is Ty Gibbs, and so Ty Gibbs would beat either of them, assuming that Ty Gibbs finishes ahead of Zane Smith at Sonoma. Anyway, I guess the tournament's not really important, but I would probably have Reddick as well.
I think he's gonna win, and not get fucked over. Because he's still not in the New Year's Spectacular. We need him to win because the more.
Well, by that point he'll be driving an open car, so who knows?
Yeah, we'll come back and you won't even my pick will be invalid because he'll be an unemployed free agent driver.
No more Riley Herbst. No more Tyler Reddick. No more. But hi, Cat. Hi, Cat. Hi, Cat. Do you have anything else you want to say? Did we get to all the topics?
Yeah, that's
we done.
That is it. Like I said, that's gonna do it for this episode. Like I said, we'll be back Friday, August 1st. We're gonna take 2 weeks off because I'm gonna be gone. And I don't trust Garry to run the podcast on his own, even though
I can do it.
No, you can't do it. You're a guest. You're not an executive. Me and Garry are the executives. Well, I'm
the producer at this point. How many links I send you?
True. You're a consultant. You're not a. I'm the CEO. Gary's the vice president, and you're the consultant.
I'm a lowly consultant. Okay. Well, thank you for having me on.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you on anytime. You're our only real guest
anytime, including the next 2 weeks when I record without you.
Yeah, well, except for the next 2 weeks. But anyways, that's gonna be all this stuff. There's nothing on this channel that's really gonna fill the gap, unfortunately. But
there's no more Strollin and Trollin.
That goes up on Wednesdays. So
fills the gap. That's fine. I'll do a monologue for an hour about something unrelated. I'll just talk about trains.
But when we come back, we'll have lots to talk about. It's probably going to be a packed episode of race recaps and news and God knows what else is going to go on. So that should be very exciting. So until then, stay tuned. Stay tuned for other world, much more racing content on the actual Pringleson YouTube channel. Check that out. And until next time, see you guys in August. Goodbye.
Bye.